Hello and welcome to Sports Fan Entertainment. Here to recap the Jacksonville Jaguars defeating the Tennessee Titans yesterday 36 to 22. I wanted to come on live yesterday but ended up having some plans, so I decided to postpone to today. So sorry for the slight delay there, but I am here now, which is probably for the better, because if I was on here after yesterday, I would have been a little too emotional. So at least today we can take a bit of a step back and not be too upset. But with that said, this was a terrible loss. This was our second worst loss of the season in my estimation. Number one being the loss to the Buffalo Bills. I think we could all pretty much agree with that. But this one hurts more because this was a divisional contest. This was against our quote-unquote rival Jacksonville Jaguars. And I can call them a rival. I think that's fair enough to say, although we're better than them, and it's not even close. The Jacksonville Jaguars are the worst franchise in NFL history. But we face them twice every year, and then we occasionally lose to them, and this is one of those years. And I said this before the season, right? I mean, before this season, I said that the Jacksonville Jaguars, this was going to be one of those years that they beat us because they are improved. And not only did I say it before the season, I tweeted before the game. Look at the tweet that I had before this game. I woke up that morning and I felt something. First of all, I was even worried the day before because the injury report came out and you saw that Danico Autry was out. You saw that Christian Fulton was a surprise out. And I got a bad feeling. And then I woke up Sunday, and at 7 a.m. Central, I tweeted, "Good morning. I have the Jaguars upsetting the Titans today, 27-21. This tweet got hell. I got hell from people because of this tweet. I had people coming at me saying, "Oh my God, you're crazy. No way. No how. You're insane. MJ, the fake Titans fan as usual. MJ never having faith in us as usual." Well, congratulations. Not only was I correct, I should have doubled down because I thought we were going to lose by 2 field goals. We lost by 2 touchdowns, and it could easily have been 3. This was an embarrassing contest. Now, this Jaguars team is improved. They are now kind of talented. They still have work to do, and they're still very young. But at the core of it all, they do have their quarterback in Trevor Lawrence. And I never doubted Trevor Lawrence. Now, he didn't play well last year. I never shied away from saying that. He did not play well last year. But a lot of that falls on Urban Meyer and the ridiculous, job he was doing in Jacksonville last season. But now Urban Meyer is gone and Doug Peterson is there. And now you're looking at Trevor Lawrence, I think over his last couple of games, now maybe 5-6 games, like 10 touchdowns, the interceptions. He's coming into his own. And this is no good because while the Jaguars, again, are the worst franchise in NFL history, now that you've actually given them a franchise quarterback, things can easily change there now. Now, I still don't like like I said, I don't really love their team, to be honest with you. I think their wide receiver room is only okay, maybe at best even okay. I think Christian Kirk was overpaid. I think Zay Jones, while he played well in this game, I don't think he's particularly that good. Evan Ingram is too hit and miss. That he's not the long-term answer at tight end. They're still working on the offensive line and they're still working on the defense. So they're still a ways away from really being a contender. But what I will tell you is next year they're going to compete for the AFC South. This year they're going to compete for the AFC South because now they're back in it. But next year they're going to seriously compete for the AFC South. And if we don't get our stuff together, they could easily win it. We have to see what type of steps this team makes, but it wouldn't surprise me if the Jaguars are a 10-win team next year, and we're not. It wouldn't surprise me as of right now. We have a long ways to go before we need to cross that bridge. But that wouldn't surprise me. But people are already worried about the Jaguars potentially winning the division this year. It's too late. They're 5-8 right now, right? They face the Cowboys this week. They're going to lose. Most likely. But then they also traveled to New York to face the New York Jets, and then they face us again. I just think it's too unlikely at this point. They'd have to go at least 3-1. We'd have to go at least 1-3. And I just don't see that happening. I don't see both of those happening when they're facing three teams that are better than them still on their schedule. I mean, how are they going to go 3-1? They're facing three teams that are better than them on their schedule. And significantly, not one of those teams are even close to them right now. And the Cowboys, Jets, and Titans made 2 wins difference between them and any of these teams, specifically the Jets and the Titans. So I don't have them winning enough games in order for them to win the AFC South this season. But if they do, oh my God, I'm going to come on here and I'm going to rant, because this would require an epic collapse from our parts, a collapse that would include us losing probably because we're going to beat the Texans. I mean, my God, this would require us to lose to the Texans, and I just don't see that happening. And then if we have to beat the Jaguars week 18 in order to win this division, I think we would do that. Hopefully it won't come to that, but it could. Warning, it could. But I think even though they're improved, even though they had our number in this game, and it wasn't particularly close by the third quarter, fourth quarter, I think we would come back and beat them in week 18. And if not, we have big problems, because not only did they win the division this year, they'd be likely to win it next year. And now we gave them the confidence moving forward as a franchise, and that is no good. So we're going to monitor that. But in terms of this game, what happened in this game? So I have a premise overall. Look, I'm now more open to the fact that we fired John Robinson. I was never really that upset anyway. I don't know why people thought I was upset. I disagreed with the move. I thought it was too early. I thought I would have done at least another season. I don't think he's nearly as bad as people say he's been. Has he made mistakes? Sure. There's a lot of GMs that have made flaws, and I can go down the list of GMs, and we can go down a lot of the moves that they've made poorly if you want to another day. Maybe not today. But the problem with the firing that people didn't want to discuss, and I will discuss it now. You sent a message that this season is over. And while I knew that the season was not going to end in a Super Bowl, and while most of you knew that this team was not going to go on and win the Super Bowl this season, now you sent the message to the locker room. And at the very least, I don't think the locker room necessarily believed that yet. But when you fire the general manager, send a clear message that we don't believe we're going to win the Super Bowl this year, we're going to start planning for 2023. Well, then guess what? Now the players are starting to plan for 2023. And now they're not, I don't think we were particularly motivated today defensively. I don't think, and offensively, the offensive line continues to be an absolute disaster. And I have to wonder, hey, are they now going to mail it in? I mean, you send a message now that the season's over. That's the message you sent. You said that this season is over. So guess what? They're playing like the season is over. That's how they played in this game. And it's sad because I know a lot of people that went to this game. I don't know why. I don't know why people were, I mean, I guess because it's cheap. I mean, the Jaguars, it's a cheap game to go to. But I know a lot of people that went to this game that came out so disappointed with this loss, and deservedly so. I mean, this was bad, people. The defensive effort today was absolutely awful. I don't think I can really excuse anyone except for, I liked actually the play of Monty Rice, who played the most snaps he's played all season. He had a nice tackle for loss, and he showed, great anticipation on that play. I liked that play from him and some other plays that he made. I thought Tierra Tart played well, especially in run defense. I thought Jeffrey Simmons played fine, but he's not being dominant right now as he is still kind of banged up. And outside of that, man, I mean, that's pretty much it, man. This secondary was awful. I think this might have been Roger McCreary's worst game as a professional. He was absolutely getting killed in coverage today, or in yesterday's game. You saw Kevin Byard struggle in coverage. This was definitely one of his worst games as a Titan. I mean, he was definitely struggling. Andrew Adams at safety, he was struggling more than I've ever seen him struggle in a Titans uniform. I didn't like the other linebackers, Joe Schobert, who, look, he's a new pickup. He's been released as of today. Good. He was awful. Joe Schobert was awful when I watched the tape. Oh, my God, he was so awful. Dylan Cole struggled. Usually he doesn't struggle to this extent. I don't know what was going on with him. Amani Hooker was late to some plays. We were just getting killed in the middle, man. I mean, and it wasn't even close on a lot of these plays. Just getting straight up killed in coverage. And then we couldn't get pressure on Trevor Lawrence. No Danico Autry. And you're seeing how that affects us right now. He's huge for this pass rush. And without him, we're struggling mightily. Rashad Weaver is slowed down. Like I said, Jeffrey Simmons is a little banged up right now, so he's not doing too much. So, I mean, the whole defense was bad. Terrence Mitchell, I mean, we're not expecting much from this guy. He's just a plug-and-play guy right now. Christian Fulton is out, but he struggled. He's not ready to play. It was just bad. I mean, it was just a terrible defensive effort all around. But then you also have to look at the offense, turnovers. I mean, this was the worst game for us this season when it came to turnovers, 4 turnovers. You have 2 fumbles by Derrick Henry. Now, I'm not going to blame him on the snap. I thought that was a low snap by Ben Jones. I thought that was a terrible snap from Ben Jones, although I would like for Derrick Henry to pick that up, and I think he could have. I think I'm going to blame more of that on Ben Jones than I will Derrick Henry. But then the other fumble that's obviously on him, I don't know what the hell happened there. I just don't know. You'd have to ask him. He got surprised by the tackle and just lost the football. Ryan Tannehill strips that. Dennis Daly. Can somebody please get this guy the farthest that you can from Nashville, Tennessee? I never want to see Dennis Daly ever again in my life. I'm sure he's a nice guy. Whatever. I don't care. Get him out of here, please. Get him on the first plane ticket, train ticket, whatever you want to do, plane ticket out of here. I don't want him here, okay, anymore. Dennis Daly, left tackle. This guy is so awful. And you know what? Now, that is where you can look at John Robinson saying, hey, he traded for this guy. Okay, I agree. But then wait a minute. People are also telling me, well, okay, John Robinson shouldn't have got this guy. He stinks. I agree. Well, Vrabel doesn't have to start him. Bench him. Bench him and put in the Raven Clark. Bench him and put in Dylan Rado too. I know he plays a lot of guard for us. He can play tackle. Bench him. He can't play. I mean, you can't continue to play him. He can't. He's such a liability. He's the worst tackle I think I've ever seen. He is next to that Will Freitag from 2 years ago. I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous how bad this guy is. So this guy's a liability. He's going to get Tannehill hurt. This is his blind side that we're talking about, and it's completely unabashed. He's just letting everyone come and sack Tannehill and get pressure on Tannehill. You can't play Dennis Daly anymore. If I see him again, I'm out. Okay? Not really, but you just can't continue to play this guy. So that continues to be a joke. The offensive line struggled. Brewer struggled. Nicholas Petit-Frere struggled. Davis struggled even a little bit. I mean, this was probably our worst. I don't know, maybe not the worst of the whole season. I mean, there's been some pretty bad performances by this offensive line, but it's definitely up there in terms of the performance of this offensive line in this game. So that was a disaster. Tannehill had the interception. Don't know what was happening there. It was a miscommunication. Outside of that, I mean, I guess he played fine, but there really wasn't much that you could see. The one thing that's kind of frustrating, okay, so the wide receivers can separate, and I understand that. And I guess, like, you have to do the best that you can with that situation. But my problem is I still don't like just throwing the ball up to them and asking them to make plays because they can't. So it's like Tannehill just throws like a lot of jump balls, at least specifically in this game. Not in every game, but specifically in this game. He was throwing a lot of jump balls to like Nick Westbrook, Akina, who has come down with some of those in the past, some of them. And like to Robert Woods and to Racey McMath, but I'm like, dude, they're not going to make those plays. Like, instead of going for these jump balls on the sideline, just get something over the middle because they're not going to make those plays. More often than not. Occasionally, they might make those plays, but more often than they're not going to. So I don't even know why you're trying it. So that was a little frustrating, but I'm not going to bag too much on Tannehill today. That's what the offseason is going to be for. As we discuss potential options, and we could be wasting our time doing that because for all we know, we're probably just going to run him again in 2023, and we're going to cross that bridge when we get there. But the one thing I will say offensively that we have to be really excited about is Chigozim Okonkwo, my African brother in Christ. Yes, look at this guy now who continues to show things for us. What a beautiful helmet catch on that 2-point conversion. What a beautiful touchdown. This guy continues to make plays. Chigozim Okonkwo And now I feel very comfortable saying start him. Okay, start him. I've been saying that. I'm going to continue to say that. Start him. I want him starting next year. And although I don't like Austin Hooper as a number one tight end, he's very below average as a number one tight end. As a number two, it's not bad. So now you're looking at, and you have to re-sign him if you want to re-sign him, but sign him to a number two tight end deal. Don't give him another $8 million. Give him 4. Don't give him 8. 8 was way too much. Give him 4. Give him 5, maybe. Because look, we're not paying Okonkwo anything. But Okonkwo needs to start next season. I'm very excited about Okonkwo moving forward. And I think he's going to finish this season with about 500 yards, which I'll take for a rookie tight end. That's not bad at all. That's not bad at all. Maybe next year he has on that, gets 700-800. Maybe year after that, maybe you'll have a 1,000-yard tight end in Tennessee again. I don't want to go too far ahead of ourselves here. But especially because, I mean, God knows, I don't know if anyone's going to be a 1,000-yard wide receiver on this team in the near future. But, let alone a tight end. But you'd like to see, it's a good rookie season, especially considering the fact that he was a 4th-round pick. For you to get 500 receiving yards potentially out of your 4th-round tight end, this is a good rookie year for your tight end. All right, that's a good, nice stepping stone for your tight end. That's a good number for me where I actually can have faith in that number. 400, yes, 300 right now. They could end up flaming out. But if he gets past that 500 number, I would feel good about it. So I'm looking forward to this Okonkwo and see if he continues to develop. Also, it's interesting, too, because he didn't even break 500 yards at Maryland. I'm pretty sure. Let me check that to make sure that's true. I remember his senior year, I think he only had like 400 and like 70. So the fact that you're talking about him having more receiving yards this season, yeah, this is true. His last year in college, he only had 447 receiving yards. So you're talking about he's going to have more yards his rookie season than he ever had any year in college. That's interesting. That tells you that this guy's continued to develop as a football player and that this is something that you can definitely be excited about. So it looks like our tight end situation actually might be pretty good moving forward, and that's more than we can say about, the receivers or the offensive line or maybe even the quarterback. So at least we have that going for ourselves. Okay, so outside of that, Chris Conley had a catch. Good. Who cares? I don't know if he's going to be on the team even tomorrow. But he had a catch good. Racing Math was back. He was able to get some separation, wasn't able to come down with the catch, but hopefully we can get him a little bit more involved as this season comes to an end. Robert was able to do some things, 5 catches for 49 yards, whatever. Austin Hooper, 5 catches for 68 yards. Again, it was whatever. I mean, this game just got out of hand quickly. I mean, we were up 14-7 and things were looking well, and then the turnovers started piling on. The Jaguars kept scoring. And, I mean, the defense just sunk. I mean, Roger McCreary, he was awful. I mean, and he's still a rookie, so I want to give him some slack on that. And he hasn't been this bad all season, but, I mean, he's really regressing now. I think he had to be a little bit concerned as it pertains to Roger McCreary right now. He needs to return to old form. So he's struggling. Again, Byard did not perform well. Andrew Adams did not perform well. Amani Hooker did not perform well. Schobert stunk. Dylan Cole stunk. It was bad. It was not good enough in this game. And, now we have to look at this division and we have to say, wait a minute, look at this division. We have to wait. We have to look and you have to say, wait a minute, we have to secure this division now. And next week we go face the Chargers. It's an L. As of right now, I mean, why would I believe that we're going to go beat the Chargers? Now, the one thing I will say about the Chargers, I mean, they like to underwhelm for sure. So, I mean, I'm not saying like there's no way we're going to win the game. We could win the game. I'm picking us to lose. I'm absolutely going to pick us to lose. I mean, I just saw Trevor Lawrence rip apart our defense. Why is Justin Herbert not going to do the same? As the Chargers are now finally getting healthy offensively, they have Keenan Allen, they have Mike Williams back. Why am I going to say that we're going to stop them? I'm not going to say that. Now, if Danico Archie comes back and Fulton comes back, I give us a better shot. I mean, we've lost 3 straight. Are we going to lose 4 straight? I don't know. I mean, at a certain point, you think, we show some fight and some pushback and we come back and get a win. But I don't know. We should have beat the Jaguars on Sunday, and we didn't. So, I had a bad feeling when I woke up yesterday morning. I had a bad feeling, and I said, look, the Jaguars, they've been struggling this season, but they're still kind of on the come up. They have talent. It seems like a bad opportunity for us. because, Fulton being out and Danico Autry being out, it looks like a great opportunity for them to come in and upset, and that's what happened. This was a year where I felt that the Jaguars were going to upset us, and this was a year where the Jaguars ended up upsetting us. And let's just make sure it's not going to be a sweep, because if it is, that could be the AFC South. And again, for us to lose this division, we'd have to go 8-9. Right, we'd have to probably, the most likely scenario is that we will beat the Texans because they stink. I know they compete against the Cowboys; they stink. So we're still going to beat the Texans. I'm sure about this. But then the problem is we also face the Cowboys. That's a tough game. They're so 50-50. They didn't perform well against the Texans. I don't know how that game's going to go right now. But it's feeling as if it might come down to that Week 18 game, depending on if the Jaguars can go to New York and win. That's the matchup that I think you have to look for, and I don't think they're going to do that. I think the Jets are going to beat them in New York, and then it's not going to matter. But if they do somehow either beat the Cowboys or the Jets, I think only one of them they're going to beat, and then I think they definitely will be, what was the other team? Let me check it again. I think they definitely will beat the Texans, I think. By the way, even that one I'm not even sure about, because the Texans could show up and beat them in Houston. I wouldn't be shocked. That wouldn't shock me at all. I don't think it's going to come down to Week 18 right now. Let's take it week by week. I just don't think so. I think it's too far. I think we're going to beat the Texans. I think they're going to lose to the Cowboys and the Jets, and it's going to be over. But if it comes down to Week 18, man, first of all, I doubt. Let me see what other matchups are Week 18. I was going to say, I doubt that they'd put us on Sunday night, because they're like, dude, who the hell wants to watch this horrible AFC South championship? But if we're the only matchup that's fighting for the division, they're going to have no choice. So Tampa Bay and Atlanta, that could be for the NFC South. Let's see what else. Baltimore at Cincinnati. That one's probably going to be for the AFC North, and they're going to put that one on. As long as Baltimore doesn't fall off, that one's probably going to be the AFC North, and that one screams Sunday night football. Let's see what other potential matchups we could have here. New York at Miami could be for a playoff spot. And that's about it. So I would imagine that it's going to be the AFC North Championship instead of us. But we'll see. We're going to have to cross this bridge and get there. But, again, this was disappointing. It's not the end of the world. We're 7-6. Look, what I say, I said before the season, although I wavered when we got 7-3, we beat the Packers, I wavered a little bit. Outside of that one night, okay, it was one night, I've been very consistent when it comes to this football team. I've said 9-8, 10-7. Now, unfortunately, it looks like 8-9 is becoming a possibility again. See, we got so happy. That Thursday night, we were talking about, well, I don't see it. It's got to be 11-6 now. I don't see how it's not going to be at least 11-6. What a bunch of BS. Okay, this is why you got to stick to your guns sometimes. I knew, even when we were 7-3, man, I should have stuck to my guns and said it's either going to be 9-8, 10-7. We've been saying this. I've been saying this since before the season. 9-8, 10-7, MJ. My God, you know better than this. You know better than that. What are you doing? You can't fall and succumb to your own, fandom, even though I can do that from time to time, but you can't do it. You got to stick to your guns, and I wavered and I faltered, and I should have kept my mouth shut, because now 8-9 is a real possibility. There's a possibility we only beat the Texans, and that's it for the rest of the season. But most likely, I think it's going to be 9-8 as we beat the Texans and the Jaguars, and it's 9-8, and then we go into the playoffs. And one thing I want you to look out for, I want the Bengals to win. If you want to win a playoff game, maybe you don't care at this point. I still would like to win a playoff game, just because I don't really care about draft positioning when it comes to, we're picking 21st versus 25th. Doesn't really matter. Sometimes it matters, but not really. I'd rather just get the playoff win, especially because we're going to be at home. So I'd rather just win at least home because I don't want to see my friends. I'm not going to the playoff game, but I don't want to see. No offense, I'm not going, but I don't want to see everyone that I know and love pay hard-earned money to go to this playoff game to watch us lose. I just don't want to see that. I want us to win in the wild card when we host the playoff game, if assuming we go on to win the AFC South, which I'm still presuming. So I want the Bengals to win the AFC North because I don't think we're going to beat the Bengals, although we did compete against them a couple weeks ago. I don't think we're going to beat the Bengals. I think they're getting better and better. But I do think we could beat the Ravens because I've seen Lamar Jackson not perform well in the playoffs. I want revenge for our playoff loss against him, although we could get revenge against the Bengals as well. I mean, we have a lot of revenge to be getting out because we keep losing to everyone in the AFC South. Everyone in the AFC, we've lost to the Chiefs in the playoffs. We've lost to the Bengals in the playoffs. We've lost to the Ravens in the playoffs. We've lost to, what did we lose to in, we lost to the Chiefs 2019. We lost to the Ravens, and we lost to the Bengals. Yeah, I mean, we just keep losing to the teams in the playoffs. So we have a lot of revenge. We have, we've been taking receipts like Robert Salah. So I want to face the Ravens in that fifth spot. That'd be my ideal. And then we'd see what will happen next. Most likely, more likely than not, that we'd go on to face the Bills. Oh, I'm not sure who's going to end up being the number one seed. Let me check. I'm actually curious about this. Who's going to be the number one seed between the Bills and the Chiefs? Let's run that quick projection. So the Bills have, as everyone does, 4 games remaining. They host the Dolphins, go to the Bears, go to the Bengals, host the Patriots. They're going to lose to the Bengals, in my opinion. I think they're going to win the rest. Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are going to win out at Texans versus Seahawks versus Broncos at Raiders. So Chiefs, I think, are going to end up being the number one seed. And then, so if I go to Arrowhead, if a seed lower than us wins, which is very possible, I'm not going to say it's going to happen, but it's possible. Then in that case, we'd face the Bills. Either way, we'd be screwed. More likely than not. But I mean, maybe we can catch fire, and then we'll figure it out. But this was an ugly one, guys. I mean, this was not a good performance at all from the Tennessee Titans. It happens. But again, I think with the firing of John Robinson, you send a message that this season's over. And I think you're gonna see this team kind of struggle down the line because they know that the season's over. I think you sent a clear message that this season is over. Well, okay, now this is what you're gonna get. I mean, I just hope that you're already starting to get a list of candidates for your general manager position, and you're ready to interview because you made a big decision when you decided to fire the general manager, and he needs to be replaced, and he needs to have a damn good replacement. Otherwise, this team is in trouble because you have an aging quarterback, you have an aging running back, you have a bad offensive line, you have a wide receiver room that's not very talented, and the defense, while it's been playing well most of the season, now even that's struggling. So, fix it. We got to do better than this, okay? We can't lose, especially to the Jacksonville Jaguars at home like this. The fans were booing, and they had every right, okay? It was really, 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 really bad. All right, so I'm going to move on to the chat, just answer a couple comments, questions, and then we can get out of here. We have Ivermectin Patience, who said, at Sports Fan Entertainment, are we tanking? Is what he's asking. Well, hopefully not, because the best draft pick we could possibly get at this point would be if we lost out. Like, if we literally lost out and went 7-10, you're talking about maybe picking like 12th to 15th. Maybe not 15. Maybe like 11. Let me say 11 to like 14th in the draft. Maybe 10. Maybe you get to 10th pick in the draft. That's pointless. I mean, at this point, you might as well just stick in it. I mean, while I'd love to draft in that range and go ahead and secure yourself a Quentin Johnston at wide receiver, I'd love to do that. I just don't know if that's going to happen. Now, we can still go 8-9. There's going to be at least one more win for us this season. We're not going to lose out. If we do, then wow, this is bad. If we lose out, having started 7-3, whew, okay, that's bad. That's embarrassing. I don't think it's going to be that bad. You're talking about having lost the last 7 games? Whoo! Oh my God, that would be bad. But I don't think it's going to be that bad. So no, I don't think that we're tanking. But again, I think when you fire your general manager and you're a winning team, you're telling your team, well, we're not going to win. All right. So I think it was a very demotivating thing to do. I don't know. That's what I believe. And a lot of people are going to disagree with that opinion. I think it was a very demotivating thing to fire your general manager at this point. I think that's just not a very motivating thing. All right, Alex Mann says, as sports fan entertainment, what's your opinion on Vrabel at this point? Well, I mean, I'll tell you this. This was one of his worst coaching performances. And we're still blaming the personnel, at least people are. And I am to a certain extent. So he's fine. I mean, he's still one of the better coaches in the NFL. Like, I don't have a problem with him yet. But, I mean, again, and apparently reports are that he didn't have a big hand in the firing of John Robinson. I call BS. I just don't. I refuse to believe that. I just call BS. I don't care that anyone's reporting. I just don't believe that to be true. This is his team. He wants more power over the team. He wants more decision-making personnel. That's what he wants. I know that's what's going on. You can't convince me otherwise. So look, next year is a referendum. All right. You wanted more power. You wanted the GM out. Well, you better perform next season. You better make whatever decisions you want to make in the offseason, and you better improve because you sent a clear message that we're not cool with regressing. You sent a clear message that the first time we regress as a team, people are going to get fired. Okay? You fired your general manager because he regressed once. Think about it, guys. We went from 9-7 in 2019. Wait, was that 9-7 2019? Or was that yeah, we went from 9-7 in 2019 to 11-5 in 2020 to 12-5 and 12-5 in 2021. That's a regular season improvement. Okay? And then we regressed once. This year we regressed. We were going to go from 12-5 to 9-8, and then you fired your general manager. Okay, cool. Well, you better not regress again. Because if you regress next season 7-10 or like 6-11, God forbid, well, who's getting fired now? Because you made it clear. You told me last year that people need to get fired when we regress. Okay, well, who's going to get fired next? Because now I'm expecting someone else to get fired, right? If we regress to still being a playoff team, by the way, and someone got fired at general manager, well, someone else better get fired if you regress next season or don't even progress. Someone else better get fired. Because that's what I'm being told is the new way we're viewing it. So, all right, Avi Monda says that sportsman statement. Why do you think Todd Downing is still employed? Because he's Mike Vrabel's boy. He's his boy. All right. He's handpicked by Mike Vrabel. They like each other. They get along. They're still waiting to see what happens in terms of the legalities of the DUI and whether or not he's going to be convicted or not or punished or not. So they're still waiting on that. And I think he just thinks it's too late in the season to make a change. And maybe he just doesn't trust like a Tim Kelly or a pass game coordinator to take over. He'd rather just stick with Downing. And by the way, I don't think Downing would be around next year. I wouldn't be surprised. Vrabel does what he wants. So if everyone's already expecting Downing to be gone next year, well, I hope you're right. But I remember when we all were talking and we were all throwing on Terry Robisky, and Mike Mularkey wouldn't fire him. Mike Mularkey ended up saying, you know what? If you want me to fire him, I'm out. And then he was out. So I don't think that's what would happen here. But I wouldn't be surprised. So we're going to monitor the situation carefully. But as of what I've been hearing right now, Downing may not even be fired next year. It could be another year of Todd Downing. All right, so with that said, that's going to do it for me here at Sports Fan Entertainment. Tennessee Titans lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars. 36-22. Disappointing matchup. And hopefully this is not spelling spelling like the deathly end to the season. But you have to be a little bit concerned after what you saw on Sunday. Until next time, this has been MJ, Sports Fan Entertainment. I'm out. See you all later.